2012 could be a bonanza year for online gambling as states decide whether to tap into the multi-billion-dollar industry following a Department of Justice ruling. But there are industry concerns that this could do more harm than good. Joining me is Frank Fahrenkopf, President and CEO of the American Gaming Association. Frank, welcome. At first glance, this looks like a win for your sector. What are your objections?
Well, I think there's no question that the decision made by the Justice Department clarified some things, particularly with regard to state lotteries and their ability to sell now lottery tickets online. But it really confused the rest of the internet gaming world with regard to what else the ramifications might be. Right now we know that there are 2,000 offshore websites that are accepting bets from somewhere between 10 and 15 Americans who are going online betting with these websites at the present time without any consumer protections, without any protections for age verification. And we've been urging for a long time that the federal government ought to come in and create a system with some minimum requirements to protect Americans who are gambling online, at the same time protect minors and provide some services to those who can't gamble responsibly. This ruling really throws in question what the federal government can do to close down the illegal operators. While it did provide some assistance to states, there's still the question of what we're going to do from a criminal law perspective.
Well, you've advocated that Congress step in to regulate online poker. Do you think this opinion by Justice will make it more likely for Congress to take action?
I hope so. We have been urging for the last couple of years that they take that action, making sure that states' rights are protected, because that's very, very important in this space. And we think that this decision will add, some urgency to that, because what's happened here is the main vehicle for the federal government to go after these illegal offshore websites has been something called the Unlawful Internet Gaming Enforcement Act. But it only applies to unlawful internet wagering. And we know from this opinion now, there's only one area that's unlawful, and that's sports wagering. So that's some of the confusions that's been created. So I think there's increased urgency for Congress to do something.
If Congress would actually legalize some forms of online gaming, do you expect your members in AGA to aggressively go after the market, and how quickly could that happen?
Well, I think that I would expect that. As you may know, the day before this opinion came down, the state of Nevada became the first state to actually put in place a set of regulations as to how they would, in fact, license companies and regulate online gaming. Although at the time, the purpose was to make it intrastate, just within the state of Nevada. Now, this case, I think, if it opens up so that we can do things outside just intrastate, you can get interstate. We have a number of our companies that are very, very interested, primarily led by Caesars Entertainment, which owns the franchise to the World Series of Poker, but MGM and other companies, I'm sure, would very rapidly try to get into that space. But again, the important thing is to shut down the illegals who are still have websites facing the U.S. and accepting bets.
You mentioned earlier there were some 2,000 of those kind of companies. What effect might this opinion by Justice have on offshore gambling operators looking for a foothold in the U.S.?
Actually, it might be easier for them, because what the Unlawful Internet Gaming Enforcement Act did was to interfere with the financial transactions. It outlawed the use of credit cards with these offshore operations. It outlawed the wire transfers. And most Americans who gamble online now use it through third-party payer organizations. This decision may even make it necessary now for the federal government to agree that credit cards could be used by these illegal offshore websites or other money transactions. And that's why there's really some urgency for Congress to get in here and do something to toughen up their ability to enforce, to make sure these people are not still operating offshore.
Our thanks to Frank Fahrenkopf. I'm Rhonda Schaffler. This is Reuters.